start. Perfect. So it goes G minor, G minor 9, C7. It's always that like, that's kind of the 2-5 motion he does, or they do. It's like, and what note is that? What's it about? What note is it about? It's that note, right? So it teaches us a lot about 2-5s, this tune. To also kind of keep a like an idea. It's a nice thing to just keep them, like it's literally going da da bo ba ba da bo ba ba da bo ba ba bo ba ba ba. What happens there? So it goes ba 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 da ba 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 da da ba ba da ba ba. Actually, so it goes 2, 5, 2, 5, 2, 5, and then it goes 3, 6. So A minor, you could say A minor 7 flat 5, but in this case, it's also the 11 is on top. So you can say A minor 11. But it's still that 3-6 motion, right? So it goes 2, 5. Da ba ba da. Da ba ba da, da ba ba da. 2, 3, 6. And then what you think, like if it would go back to G minor, that would be quite, I mean, generic almost, because so that would, like, that doesn't happen. So what it does is it changes key. It goes a half step up from that A minor. It goes da ba ba da. It's a different key, right? Da ba ba da, ba 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 da. So that's what happens. It goes from G minor and then it goes hold on. I just learned it today, so let's see. So something like that, right? So it goes da ba ba da bi da ba 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 ba. Kind of goes back to F, right? So it just touches up on that. It changes key. It goes to that 2-5, like that's a very common thing that happens. So it goes a minor third up and plays 2-5-1 there. So it's almost like you're still in F. I would say you're still in F, but it's just that you're using that flat 7 dominant, which we've talked about too, I think. It's like that. Is that. It's very much in the key of F, right? So it's kind of that 2-5-1 that's a minor third up from that, from the 2. So if you've probably heard intros where they use this motion, this sound of that that minor third up from the 2, so it's like. So it's like, I think by Blackbird has that. So it's like that. It is it's called a flat 7. So it's because it's at this flat. It's a flat 7 dominant. So it always goes back to 1. It's a sound that is very common. You've heard it in Stella by Starlight, so many tunes. So that's what happens in this tune, basically. So it does that same thing, just in that, using that 9th, starting on B flat minor. So it starts on G minor, right? So it goes. So it goes. Which is A minor. So it's A minor, 11, D7, right? Or ba ba. It goes like that. And then it goes to B flat minor. So I think it's, yeah. So it's the same thing, right? You can do it here, so it's the same. And then it goes. So that's the whole A section. So it goes from the beginning. We're using the 9th of the 2 chord, right? It's because the key here is F, right? Just have to put that out there. It's the key of F. It starts on the 2, right? It's just 2, 5, G minor 9, C7, and how it gives that sound is just using that 9 and doing that. Sometimes it's like, it's good to imagine what's happening. Okay. So C7 has that 3rd, right? So if you would just play the 3rd and 7th, so if you would play the 3rd and 7th of that G minor, and then just 3rd and 7th, what happens when it goes to the 5 is just, that's the only thing that moves. The 7th moves a half step down, which becomes a C7, right? It goes from G minor to C7. So it goes. So that's kind of what happens when we listen to Coltrane. What the harmony is doing is that kind of. So that's just a nice thing to have. Like when playing a 2/5, it can be in any tune. I don't know if you've heard T for 2. That's also a tune that goes. And that's just 2/5, 2/5. So it's also that same thing, right? So that's what happens here too. So we kind of use the same thing we learn from different tunes, but just the motion, like a 2/5, just knowing, okay, what note is it that moves? What is the kind of, and that's also something we use in improvisation too, right? You know, improvising over this could be something like. So what I'm doing there is it sounds really good. It's because I'm just kind of using the notes from the melody, which is the ninth, and then I'm also using that thing, which F2 going to 5. And I'm just playing around with that so I can go. And then I kind of gotta play a phrase that goes into that next thing, right? So it's a really cool thing. Two, 5, 3, 6. And then we go to this B flat minor 9. Still the ninth. So that's kind of the what happens, right? Goes do that again. And then it goes switches keys in the bridge, so it goes to the F minor, right? And then it does the melody is on the minor 7. So the F major became F minor, which is really funny, a little weird, but it's a cool sound. We can listen to it again. Just look at the bridge for a second. Let's listen from the top. Bridge now. This little, he plays so. Wait, what's this? Oh, this is the same thing. Let's see. Let's listen to Barney Kessel just to hear the. So that's basically it, right? Right. Yeah. And it goes back. So that's basically the bridge, and the bridge starts on F minor, so it kind of switches and just plays minor from it being in F minor. It actually switches keys to E flat major, because it goes F minor, and then it actually does that same thing which happened in the song, the same kind of motion of going to that minor third up thing. So F minor, it goes to A flat minor. So and E flat major 7. Using that major 7. First, the note is, and that could be so many things, but in this case it's the minor 7 sound. So it's about that 7th of that minor chord. It's a nice sound. The 7th of a minor chord, so that's what it's about. And then it goes. Ba, ba. So A flat minor, D flat 7. And then it goes to E flat major 7. So from the beginning, from the bridge. And then it goes. So F minor, A flat minor, D flat 7, E flat major 7. And then it goes D flat 7, back to D flat 7, and then C7. So it's almost like it's in F minor, actually, because it's like it uses that blues turnaround. So it's like if when you hear minor blues, that it has that. It's a very common thing, and it uses that. So from the top, that would be. And then it goes back to G minor. So that's basically the bridge is just, it's in F minor, you can say, or F minor or E flat major. It's kind of more in, I guess you could call it that it switches key to E flat major 7, but it kind of implies F minor sound. But F minor is still the same scale. The theory is the same, because an E flat major is an F minor Dorian, right? It's the second step of the scale, so that's what it kind of switches keys to that sound. All right, so from the top, that will be. So that's the second A. And now it goes to the bridge. And then it goes. So it goes, instead of going, it just goes. And that's the whole kind of ending. So the last part goes. So it's kind of, it's the first part, that's the same length as it always has been, but then this part, then it goes B flat minor, E flat 7, A minor, D7, and then G minor, C7, and then F. And that's kind of the whole tune. Let's listen. G minor, C7, G minor, C7, G minor, C7, A minor, D7, B flat, E flat, A minor, D7, G minor, C7, F. Second A. F minor, A flat, D flat 7, E flat, that's a good pickup. It's just let's see. Oh. So it's bluesy. Oh. That's so good. So it teaches us a lot about choosing one note. And also, if we listen to this is an example of a tune that just kind of chooses a chord tone. It chooses the ninth, and with that ninth, it just plays everything kind of with it. So it's like the first part, just ninth. So it's, if we think about it, G minor is just, and then it goes, and then it's about the 11th of that, 11th of the A, and then it becomes like the root of the D. But then it's about the ninth again. I would say this song is about the ninth. That's a nice thing you can do. You can do something like that, or you can go like a drill. This is a good practice to just like kind of, okay, choose a note and then kind of make a story out of that note. So you kind of, you can use the same rhythm, but then use some different notes instead of, you can go, kind of steal that rhythm it has and then do your own thing. So you can do that here too. So whenever you approach a ninth of a minor chord, you can always do that as a pickup. So that's kind of, that comes from Nika's Dream, I think. This famous like Art Blakey tune. So when we solo, we wanna, because what happens is it's just 2-5, right? 2-5, ba 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 2-5, ba 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 2-5, and then it goes 3-3-6, and then it goes 2-5, 2-5, and then it goes 3-6-2-5-1. So when we solo, we gotta kind of, I think a good thing is to really almost playing it like you're playing rhythm. Like, if you would just set like this, how would you, like, what lines would you hear? You can also just think about it as a G minor. You don't have to think about G minor C7, G minor C7, just G minor. right? Because the G minor scale and the C7 scale is the same scale. So we don't have to think, oh, it's G minor going to C7, or it's easier to kind of just know what happens when a G minor goes to C7. Well, it's just one note, kind of. That's what happens, right? Everybody would hear that as a 2 going to a 5. Right? So it's like, and then you can use that motion, 2, 5, and you can also do the melody, right? We talked about playing the melody a lot when improvising. It's so good to do that, to play around with the melody. Okay. Then it goes to the bridge. E flat. Goes back. And it goes from the top, right? We're just using the note that it's about. We already kind of established that for ourselves, right? When we learned the tune, we looked at a tune, what is the tune about? Now, this is a tune that I haven't played enough to kind of know what it's like, know it deeply. But what I can do is, okay, I know what it's about, the chord tone. I know what chord tone it is about. So it's about the 9th. And that's kind of how improvising, how it wants us to kind of move around when improvising, right? It goes, and then it goes, so about the 9th again. So this is an opportunity to really get that 9th, which is a beautiful sounding chord tone, into our ears, right? This is something that Peter Bernstein talked about, was pretend it's the 9th's birthday. He really uses good analogies, I think, because that's kind of what this tune is teaching us. It's teaching us that, okay, it's about the 9th, and that's what it's about. So, and how pretending that it's that chord tone's birthday really means that we kind of, you're playing ideas. You're not just playing notes. If you would just improvise playing notes, you would play. That won't mean anything, just doing that. But like actually playing an idea. that means we kind of have to choose a note, choose the chord tone that it's about, in this case the ninth, and now how many phrases can you do that approaches the ninth? And we're playing G minor. You can think about it like a G minor Dorian. First of all, where is the ninth on the guitar? Right, we have them in different. Kind of wanna. Okay, where's the ninth? So there is. So there is. It's the A. The note A. So we want to know where it is and then kind of. It's just really doing that, you come a long way. Doesn't matter the tune. If you can choose a note and really stick to it, like you're telling a story with that note, that will establish something for the listener too, that they can understand. That's something that I've been noticing a lot. Like it really to have the courage to really be like. And there are so many ways you can do this too. So it's like there is no excuse in like, oh, but there are only so many ways you can approach a note, because there are infinite ways you can approach a note. Am I right? So it's like, so if we learn the different ways to approach a note, that's very nice, because then you can kind of, okay, but then I want to use something hip. You can do that thing, which I did. So that this is D7 going into G minor. That's how I think about the pickup to that G minor, because it's a. So I can do stuff like. You see, it's like. So we want to kind of have our different ways of approaching that note. And to approach a note, it's good to think of it as like just put a 5 before it. If you would put a D7 before that G minor, and you would just think of it, okay, that's how you play with it. So it's like, that's a good way of thinking when it comes to approaching a note. To just put a 5 before that chord in the way you're thinking. So maybe it's let's just take another chord, like just an F minor, and we want to make something that talks about that third. So maybe you're playing, just taking like a different tune for a change, like All the Things You Are. Maybe you've heard All the Things You Are. That goes. And it does the same thing again, but in starting from C minor. So that's the beginning, right? And then so that's the information we got. And it's F minor, B flat minor, E flat 7, A flat major 7, D flat major 7, and then G7, and then C major. So the point is, this is an example of where the composer was like, let's make it about the third. So that's what he did. It's about the third. It's not different, all different notes. Usually when you look at a melody of a tune, it's always about a note, and then that relationship is established. So it's not like running around playing different stuff, and like, it's always a story. A story is always about something that is relatable to the whole story, if that makes sense. So it's like, in this case, in All the Things You Are, it's like, it's always the third. And now it's about some different stuff. But then it's the third again. Third. Third. And then third. So it's always like, knowing that is a good thing, because then you can learn how to approach those melody notes in different ways. So it's and so basically a good practice is literally just take a note of a chord. So you can loop a chord if you have the possibility of doing that, or not, doesn't matter. So maybe you just, okay, now I'm gonna use, just to make it a different thing, maybe you just pick major 7, C major 7. You have that chord, okay? And now you want to make it about the major 7. So this is how the composers think, right? But now we're using it just over one chord. Okay, so we want to make it about the major 7. Just establish the major 7. So that's the major 7. Sing it, feel it, without playing it. Don't be too, sorry about that. Don't be too fond of starting to play. Just try to like kind of feel it first. In this case, it's a B, right? So kind of identify where can do I know my B's? Because then we have good, and then you kind of just sit and you use the major scale as your framework. Okay, you have a C major scale, so kind of play that scale. And just play it until you feel like, okay, now I'll play the major scale enough. I feel comfortable playing the scale just up and down and not doing anything else. And when you've done that, so when you're comfortable just playing the scale and you know you've established the chord tone, which is the major 7, now you can practice just approaching that note. Make it about that. You see how it's like, because the more you kind of practice like this, the more you will start hearing melodies that is it's story based, because this becomes a story now. because you're not leaving. You're practicing sticking to that idea. You're not just playing something and then playing something else because you were like, oh no, that didn't work, so let me try something else. You're practicing sticking to an idea. And now you switch to a different string set. So you're doing this, and you can do this with every chord tone. All right, so you're using, what's easy about it is you're using the major scale, and you know the major scale, so it's like. So it's like, that's how we're practicing, right? You're choosing the note, the goal, the note which is about. And then when you solo, that's kind of how you want to think. To kind of stick to a story. And to practice like this is a good thing because then you're used to that thing. So if it's a 2-5-1, let's do it in C. Maybe you will make it about the 9th of the 2 chord and then the major 7 of the 1 chord. So maybe something like. And then you can do. You see how it's like almost a melody? But it's just me choosing. It's choosing. It immediately became a story. It might not have been the best solo ever, but it's not about that. It's just about me telling something that's people can understand. And that's kind of sticking to an idea. That's taking chord tones and playing them. And kind of having that kind of mindset. Practicing like that is a good thing. Usually when we play, I just remember playing, improvising is just one thing after another without it becoming a story. And it's a difficult thing. Even I watch videos of me playing live. It's like sometimes I like, what I think about is like when I kind of look at myself in terms of how can I get better, I always look at myself and like, did I tell a story there? Or was I too afraid to stick to that idea? And usually that is the case. I was too afraid to sticking to an idea. I remember I played something in F minor. It was like a F minor blues. And I remember like I chose the 9th, but I wasn't sticking to that idea. Because I was, it's kind of, sometimes you get so afraid. It's kind of, you need courage to stick to an idea, to not feel like, okay, now I want to move on. But sticking to an idea and really milking it of what it has to say, that is so nice. And this is what we realize when we listen to tunes too. That they're literally taking one idea and then they're milking it. And it sounds really good. And we feel like, wow, this is so beautiful. Just listen to All the Things You Are. It's beautiful. But it's beautiful, but it's just taking one idea. And And using that is like, it's so good. And I think you come a long way of just doing that. What I said, kind of dislocating a chord of its chord tones. So grab any chord. Maybe we take, this time we can take something like a B flat minor 7. Maybe we want to use the 5th. So just a minor triad. Maybe you try the different ways of approaching that 5th, but it's about the 5th. So we're using the same strategy as the composers, right? When they wrote tunes, because they chose, that's how a story is kind of made up, right? When it's just about a tune, about a note, about something. So if you listen to that first tune we talked about, Speak Low, which you can check out after this seminar more, also you'll have this video, you can look back at what we talked about. But like, just imagine that. So it's like, it's about this note and it's about this note. And then it has kind of a way of approaching those notes. So it's like, okay, so we can use that in our way of improvising. So using the 5th. Sorry. So it's like, it's so good. I just like, that's one of the best things. And as I said before, we can use that over 2-5-1s. So if we have a 2-5-1 in A flat major, which has the B flat minor as the first 2 chord, right? So you can kind of just decide, all right, I'm gonna make it about the 5th. So that means 5th of the 2 chord. And you can kind of stay on the same, since the 2 and 5 they're so close to each other, maybe you don't have to switch to the 5th of the 5 chord. You can just use over the both. And then you use the 5th of the 1 chord. All right, so we have, and then you're using the 5th of the 1 chord. So now you can practice this and kind of, if you've practiced the different ways of approaching those notes. So we have, and there's no right and wrong. I mean, there's no right way of doing it, except for just, does it sound good? It's probably, the right thing would probably be if it sounds good and it's melodic. And to have it melodic, you kind of want to play the different, like the scale, like it's just playing the A flat major scale. And here it's like, did you hear that? Wasn't that like, that's kind of a story. It's kind of like, it could be a melody, right? And it was just one note that's changed. So it's not the best thing ever, but it's just, oh, okay, so that's a kind of nice thing to just have that in mind when playing, right? It's like, So that's a, I don't know. Do you guys have any thoughts about this? Anything you want to share? Or should I just keep rambling? It's just a nice thing, you know, just choose a chord tone and then do the same thing. Like in this case, that could be your lick. Now, how would you do a variation of that? Anybody got an idea? If this is the phrase 2-5-1 and A flat, and then it goes A flat. Just immediately what I hear, to just make it a little more, I don't know what you should call it, sophisticated, maybe altered, whatever you want to call it, this. Because then you got yourself a line which went. Does that make sense? So you got, if you would play chords underneath, that would be. So B flat minor 7, you got E flat 7 with a flat 9. And that sounds amazing, right? Because it's just voice leading. So what makes us think that we shouldn't use voice leading when improvising? Because that's literally, it's the same concept. Like, that's I mean, if I could do that intuitively, I would be so happy. Like if I could do that when playing over most tunes, that's because this way of playing is also a lot of hearing. Can you hear that in the moment? And that's just like, okay, so how do we get better at hearing that? Well, it is to kind of sit with the different chords, and how can I approach that? Because then you can do, or something like that. We're making it about a note all the time. And it's so easy to kind of, oh, okay. You something like that. Just kind of follow that story. Make it complete. See where it gets you. And sometimes it's like, follow what you hear in your head. Make it, I mean, imagine like children melodies. I think that's kind of how they sound like, in a way. Like it's almost like a nostalgic feeling to it. I don't know, like let me think. That's also a way of using it. So you're using, and then you're doing, and then you're doing. So the line is, nice, right? That's a really nice thing. And to be able to play that, that's enough. You know, that's enough. Now do that in every key. You know what I'm saying? And kind of playing like you can find your own stuff by just like kind of okay, you kind of find a voice leading thing. So you're using like, okay, in this case we used the fifth verse, right? Fifth became flat 9. We could do that with let's do third, and we can do the third going down a half, and then it going down a whole to the ninth. So the sound will be so maybe so actually we don't have to do a lot of stuff. You can just be like right? It's just the major scale, right? Alright. So how would that just kind of make it as something that if you have an idea of something, whatever it is, try to keep going with that idea, whatever that makes you play. Try to listen for, okay, when I play this, what is the next thing I hear based on this thing that I just played? You know, that's a good thing. Practicing like that is a very nice thing, and it doesn't have to be difficult, or it doesn't have to be. Just see what emerges when you play something. Like, just to make it about the same thing we're doing. Immediately it becomes something that we can understand. Like I feel like doing that makes it, oh, okay, nice. So it's about something. It has an idea. Let's just take another tune, just a melody, just to demonstrate that one more time. We could do something like, what tunes are there? I mean, there are so many. Autumn Leaves. Just the beginning, right? So that kind of proves my point, right? It's like, yeah, that's why it sounds good. So it's like yeah, I think that's a good just like how do I explain? Like I don't know, it just makes sense for me to practice like that too, because we want to have that sense of melody when we improvise. At least I do. At least I want to have that same energy as the tune. The same kind of play it as a ballad. Take your time. Something like that, right? And it's just that's why playing melodies is like kind of the best thing. Playing melodies has that energy we kind of want when we improvise. And yeah, I mean, of course, there are many more things you can do, and I'm not saying you shouldn't go learn cool stuff to play, like I don't know, like stuff. I'm not saying that's not good. It's cool to have stuff. To have stuff to play is good, but that's a bonus, I think. That's something we can add on when we have our kind of because then you can do like whatever. It's just we add on to that base. We add on to that simplicity, because that's what it is. We have. I think it's actually it would be a good. I remember actually practicing this tune and just playing it like. Something like that, right? So it's like you're going up that arpeggio, right? C minor. And then that C minor becomes an F7 because you're going down a half step. Like. I think that's my first 2-5-1 lick that I learned, actually. It was just. And that was the end of the world for me. Because then I could just play that over kind of anything. It's a nice thing to just choose something that you like, play it over everything. And yeah. It's a nice thing to have it in every position too, right? It's not a bad lick. It's quite basic. Just like an arpeggio. Like it's very melodic. So you're going up the C minor. C minor triad, right? C, E flat, G, B flat, the B flat becomes an A. Why? Because the F has that A as the third. And then you're doing the third of B flat. So you can do, and this is just diatonic to B flat. That means it's just in the B flat major scale.
Hey, Armin, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Hey, man, can you run back through Speak Low? Because I really thought that was a cool tune. Can we? I want, when you were voicing, I think it was an A minor 11th to D7.
Was it this?
Yeah. What is that? What voicing is that right there? The A. What are you doing? It's like a suspended.
It's actually just an A minor. It's an A minor. You can call it A minor 11. So it's like a, you know, this, just your normal A minor 7.
Yeah.
You play that fifth here instead.
You use the D.
Yeah, this is the sound.
Could you voice it like this, like on the roots?
Exactly. That looks right. Let me see that one.
Okay. Okay, I got it. Okay. Can you repeat it again? It's a beautiful song. I want to work on that.
Yeah, it is. It's so nice. It's yeah. And
Can you play through it again, just on your guitar? Play through it again. Okay.
Oh, something like that. Sorry.
Yeah. Okay, play the chords. Play when you're going for B. So it's B minor, B minor,
flat.
E flat. Yeah, B flat minor, then E flat, 2/5,
Yeah.
and then A. Does it resolve to A major?
Yeah. So exactly. So it goes.
Flat.
A minor,
minor,
A minor, yeah, A minor, and then it goes D7,
flat 9.
yeah, exactly, and then G minor, and then it's just 3, 6, 2, 5, F. So from that B flat minor, that would be.
Okay, so
Yeah.
Let me just see if I can. So it's
I can't really hear you. If you could.
That's okay. So just it starts.
Okay. Oh, no worries.
G minor, C7, G minor 7, C7, and then back. Okay. Yeah, run through it again one more time, just kind of slowly. I just want to, if you can call the chords out, when you're doing it, that'd be cool.
All right. So we got B flat minor 7.
I mean, from the top.
From the top. Okay.
Yeah. G minor.
G minor C7.
Right.
G minor C7.
Right.
G minor C7. A minor 11
right.
to D7. And then it goes B flat minor 7. E flat 7.
Right. That's that.
F,
Wait,
F.
wait, wait. So that's back to the A. That's A minor, D. Then so
Yeah,
just going down.
I could play it from the B flat minor 7 one more time. So
Yeah,
it goes
you got to
B
call it
flat,
out.
E flat 7, B flat minor 7, E flat 7, and then it goes to A minor, D7, G minor, C, F.
Right. So
And then
that's
it
the
goes.
whole A. That's the whole A right there.
That's the whole A, yeah.
Okay. So let's go to the bridge.
The bridge, F minor,
Right.
with the 7th as the melody note.
Yeah.
And then it goes the chords, you mean, right?
Yeah.
F minor to A flat minor. So it goes A flat minor, D flat 7, and then it goes to E flat major 7. So F minor.
Let's go from that. When it goes to that E flat major 7, does it stay there for 2 bars? What does it do? Does it
So it
go
E flat 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4 D flat 7 C 7.
Ah, okay. So it's,
Yeah.
Okay.
I can play it in time.
Yeah.
So that's kind of how it. Yeah.
And then so that's resolving back to the F.
The A, not to the F. That's the thing. It kind of you think it's the F, but then it goes.
Oh wait, right there. What's that? Wait. What's that? Wait.
So that's the same. This is the A section again. It's just I'm playing it down here, right? I'm playing the G minor.
G minor.
G minor 9, yeah, as the A because we've
okay.
done.
So so it doesn't resolve to the F. It goes back to the, and that gives kind of a sus sound. Like you want to hear it. Your ear wants to hear it go back to the. Your ear
F.
wants to hear it go back to the F.
Yeah.
But it goes back, and so that intro is kind of a sus. It's like you hear. It's kind of a suspended sound or something. It's hanging in the air a little because you want to hear that F, but it ain't there.
Exactly. Yeah, it is exactly like that. And it's funny you say it's a sus sound because you could play it. It's almost like.
Right.
That's how they were messing with it, right?
Right.
So da ba 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 da da ba ba da da ba ba da 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 da. And you can do that. So sus, right? You said sus, so it gave me this idea, which is really nice. You can play it like that, just 5, 5, 5. So that's what we're doing when we say sus. You can play it. You can play this chord, this G minor 9, and you can play the C in the bass. You just do that, and now you have yourself a really nice C11, right?
Yeah.
So it's when someone says, "Oh, can you play an intro?" You can kind of do that.
Yeah.
So that's a good thing. And
that'd be a nice intro.
What?
That'd be a nice intro.
It would, wouldn't it? So it's but that's a cool thing you said. It's a suspended. It's exactly as you say. It never goes to the F, which is funny.
Yeah.
It only does it at the end.
It's hanging in the air,
Yeah, and that's what we like. You want this. That's what you want, but you don't get it. Instead you get which is a different sound, right? You can always do that as like an intro too, to not go home, because when you go home, it implies that it's over, right? So that's why Peter Bernstein talks about when comping, when doing like a 3, 6, 2, 5, don't play the 1 when you're comping, because that implies that it's over, you're home. So you could just do, you can just keep going.
Oh,
to
yeah,
just
yeah,
have
yeah,
that,
yeah. You hear
to have
that.
that,
You hear that.
yeah, to have that motion going. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, um,
Yeah, you hear it a lot. You hear it a
yeah,
lot.
it's
Yeah.
always like bass players do that all the time. Just having that motion keep. Instead of going like 1, 2, 5, 1, and then instead you want to do it's always in motion. It always drives. So that's kind of a thing that this tune kind of used, that kind of tension, not going home, even though you might, that's what your ear wants. It plays with that. So that's
Yeah, the listener wants to hear it, but you're not giving it to them.
exactly, and that's a cool thing. That's Peter Bernstein talks about that a lot, because then at the end, when you're actually like playing that last thing, it will become so cool when you actually go
resolve.
You know, it's like
Right. Like a half step
like,
down and back into it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Or yeah. So it's like because then that's now it's over. You don't wanna give that out too early.
Yeah, you hear that a lot. You hear a lot of sound, a lot of bands. You know, you'll hear it a lot, and you know.
Yeah.
That's cool. That's a good song.
Yeah. So go listen to Speak Low. Basically, that's there's another version with Hank Mobley. It sounds like this. Lee Morgan on trumpet. Holy moly, that's sound.
Doing a little Latin sound.
Yeah, just put this on and comp to it. You get the best musicians, you can play with them. A flat, D flat, E flat, E flat major 7, and then D flat, C, and then it goes back. And then it goes A minus 7, 5, 5, D7. And now F. Try to listen to the story aspect of his solo. last A. And now, when you listen to this tune, it's a good thing. Try to remember what we've talked about. Like, try to remember the chords, 2 5 2 5, and then it went to that A minor. Okay, try to have that activated when you listen to the tune, or and try to like, oh, okay, that's the sound of the 2 going to the 5, 2 going to the 5. It kind of teaches you that 2 5 relationship, which is so vital in this music and just all of Western music. Really, it's usually a 5-to-1 relationship in Western music. It's a lot of 5-to-1, 5-to-1. But in jazz, it's a lot of 2-to-5, 2 going to a 5. So kind of have that ear activated when you listen to this. Try to be like mindful when you listen. Okay, oh, okay. See, 2 5, 2 5, 3 6. You're kind of freeing yourself, also thinking 2 5 3 6, and then, well, what do you call this in terms of? I guess you could call 2 5 a minor third up. I'm sorry that I can't give you more on that. I got it.
No, it's a traditional step, and
Yeah, a minor third up.
minor third up. Yeah, common.
Yeah, it's really common. I just what like a like a backdoor dominant sound. So it's basically a backdoor dominant. That's what a backdoor dominant means. It's a dominant chord going a whole step down. So E flat 7 going to F. So that's also a sound we want to have ingrained in our ears. And that's basically that. So that's the sound. And basically thinking like that makes you free to play it in every key. That's what I wanted to say. Because then you just, I mean, and then you know, okay, it goes, because you're doing that same thing. You're going up a minor third. So now you're opening it up. You're seeing the fretboard more as, oh, okay, the relationships. That's a good yeah, so good thing to do. So try to have that in mind when listening to it, and we can talk about it more next seminar, I think, if people want to. We'll see where we're at.
I'm gonna work on it.
Yeah. Nice, man.
It's a great tune.
I mean, really good. Really good. I'm gonna play it on Saturday. I'm gonna play it on a gig, a duo gig. So this has really helped me.
Good luck,
guys. Yeah. I guess people aren't really listening when playing on a cocktail gig, so you get your chance of just keep practicing.
You know what? But you know, one thing that I'm not used to hearing is when in that, from that E flat and then going to the D flat 7, then down, so that's an interesting change from the E flat major 7, then it goes to the D flat, then to the, then to the C,
Yeah.
right? I mean, that's a cool, right? How do you, that's really then from E flat going to the flat 7, the D
Yeah,
flat.
exactly. Flat. the flat 7, 7.
But it's just a way to get to the C. You know, it's really just a way to
Yeah.
get to that C, because that resolves you. That's going to give you the resolve. At
It's
least you
almost
think you're going to resolve, but you're not resolved.
exactly.
Yeah,
So it's almost like you're playing a G minor C7
yeah.
almost,
But
because it's like
it's a substitution, really.
it's a substitution going to that C7, but it could be, and then it's not that weird going back to G minor again, right?
Right.
So this
But
is
it's
like
just
there.
interesting how the E flat major 7 to the
Yeah,
D flat. That's a cool. That's a pretty cool thing. E flat major 7 to the D flat, then to the
yeah.
C.
Because
I'm not used to
they
hearing that.
what they could have done was they could do, and then it could go back. But what they did was, which makes the change feel more unnatural or kind of out there. It makes it feel like, oh, something happened, which is a good thing. I think it's
Yeah, well, it's jazz, you know.
yeah, exactly. All right, guys. Any other questions for today, or are we happy with the information? Great,
I'm
great,
gonna work on it.
amazing. The video will be up, so you can kind of go in, see what I've been
Hey,
saying.
what was Oscar working on that Chet Baker what song were you working on, Oscar? Can you hear me?
Wait, I think.
He may be turned off.
Oh, yeah, yeah. I think he said he
Hold
listens
on.
today while multitasking some stuff. So no worries, Oscar. You're
What
allowed
was
to
it?
do.
Oscar, can you hear me?
You're talking to Robert? Yeah.
To you.
No, yeah, he's writing. I think it's his mic might not be working or something.
I'm
So
not sure. Yeah, I'm not sure if it's on, but he was talking about a Chet Baker tune. I was just wondering what song he was working on.
right, was it? It was it? It could happen to you, maybe.
Yeah, we were working on that
Yeah, we were talking about that. Yeah, he
2 weeks
said that's
ago.
that's the one. So that's a really good. That's a that's really nice.
I'm gonna write it down. So
Yeah, it could happen to you with Chet Baker. It's really, really good.
those
It's
two songs, then it could happen to you, and
so good.
Hide your heart from sight.
oh yeah. I know that.
Lock
I
your
heard you.
dreams at night.
So
It was in the movie.
It was, wasn't it?
Did you see the movie where what's his name with the guy? I forgot the actor. Uh,
Hmm.
it was a good movie. I forgot it. I forgot.
Cool, cool. Well, yeah, that's we talked about that. We can talk about we'll see what we talk about next week, but see keep listening to the stuff you think is cool, and
Yes.
you can always go back to the video where I actually talked about, I think that was the time you were in San Francisco,
Okay.
Douglas. So you can check that out if you want to. Otherwise,
Yeah.
just listen to that and just
Yeah, I'm gonna
yeah,
check them both out. I want to know what you know, so we can have tunes in common.
yeah, yeah. That's a great thing. And all just for every seminar, just if you would kind of like during the week, maybe you're like, oh, I'm working on this tune. You can always have that in mind, like, oh, we can like talk about it here. So just like kind of bring tune if you guys want to, you can always bring tunes, and we can see if I know it or if I don't know it, or maybe I know it a little. We can talk about that.
But you know, I can't. I mean, you know, like you gotta like. I was in this one study group last year, a couple years ago. I mean, they would take a song and they would work on it for a month. I mean, it was like you know, just to get one song down. I can't learn a song in a week. I can't possibly. I
No,
mean, you
no,
can learn the chord, but you know, you still got to ingrain it in your head. I don't. It takes
that's
longer to, you
for
know.
sure. I mean, I had a monk group where we learned Thelonious Monk songs. We learned 5 tunes per week.
Oh, I don't
And
know how you could do. I don't know how you could do that.
but we didn't relearn them, and that wasn't the purpose. Wasn't
Oh,
we ingraining the songs? It was just
oh,
that now we've played them or we've heard them and we've seen them, so we can always go back to them. So that's kind of like, this is not learning a song deeply. This is more like, okay, now we've done this, now we've kind of talked about this, and we can either go back to it next week, or like maybe in 5 weeks you guys listen to it again. Somebody listens to it, takes it up, and like, okay, now the distance of me learning it won't be that hard because I kind of have it somewhere in
oh,
my head. So that's kind
some
of, I,
basics. Yeah.
I think that's kind of, I like that idea with these kind of seminars too. Like when I play that, like I will forget, because that was a couple of years ago when I learned 5 monk tunes a week. But what I do know is, if somebody calls that tune that I played 3 years ago once, that I learned in the midst of learning a ton of other tunes, I will remember like a little bit of it, and then I can have my ears kind of, oh, okay, yeah, that was what it was. Yeah, yeah. So it's like, it's a good thing to kind of learn songs deeply. We want to do that, but learning them kind of on the fly like this, kind of, maybe it's a lot of information here, but it will stay in your head. Like it will kind of be there, back there, and then you can always bring that up again, and it's part of the process too, I think. So yeah, so that's just putting it out there as like, as a cool thing. But if you guys would want to, that's why I'm kind of checking in every week. Like, do you want to work with the same tune we did last week, or do you want to do another tune? And we kind of do it just kind of what feels good for that time, you know. Sometimes we even talk about something else, you know, and that's kind of the vibe.
Okay.
But so yeah. Any other questions for today?
I'm good.
Awesome. Thank you guys so much for today. It was really cool. Cool talking about this tune and all the different stuff. Um,
Same here.
See you next Monday. And until
Okay.
then, keep listening. Please think about the story aspect. I think that's a really important thing that you can always think about.
Sure.
You can always think about that. Kind of ask that question before you listen to a tune. Like, kind of when you listen to a soloist, like, what is this? Like, how is this soloing telling a story, or why do you even like it? Probably because it is kind of a story aspect in it. And try to see that, try to hear that, and try to practice like that too. Like motifs. Good thing. And until next time.
Okay, boss.
See you
All
later,
right.
guys. Take care
All
of
right. Take
yourselves.
care.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.